Rex, we had a spirited discussion earlier in the show about Patrick Reed. When you look at sort of the Ryder Cup bubble for the U.S. team in particular, those guys between, let's say, numbers 18 and number 10, where are you putting Patrick Reed? Do you think he's actually a realistic threat to make the American squad?
I thought the conversation we had on the pod this morning was funny on that as well, because Matt Adams actually threw Patrick Reed out as a possible pick last week, and I think both you and I had a collective eye roll, thinking to ourselves that if you're going to pick a live player, I'm not quite sure I would have gone to Patrick Reed right off the top last week. But certainly getting that win on Live Golf, how he performed coming down the stretch, he gave up a big lead, but he was able to turn it around in the playoff. He certainly would bring a lot of fire to that team. He would bring experience, which I think is going to be very important, but I'm not quite sure. I'm almost leaning towards Eamon's argument on this one, that he's not a perfect fit for that team room right now. If I'm looking at that bubble, I think there's two players that stand out to me right now, and it's Andrew Novak and Mav McNeely. And this has everything to do with they have certainly played well enough this season to not only deserve consideration from Captain Keegan Bradley, but to probably have an inside track to be one of the picks, how we stand right now. My bigger concern isn't about how they play or who they are as players. It has more to do with the idea of roster construction. We know going into Bethpage Black, this is going to be such a different atmosphere. This is going to be so intense. And it looks like the Keegan's already going to have a couple of rookies on that team. And I would just be leery of picking a rookie with one of your 6 picks.
The last couple of weeks haven't seen European winners, Rex, but they're pretty good weeks if you're Luke Donald. I mean, Keegan winning really puts himself in the frame. Patrick Reed winning puts him in the frame. I mean, Luke Donald has got to be loving this, just in terms of the distractions, the narratives that are going to follow the US team all the way to Bethpage.
Can you imagine the messaging that's going to go up on that team room at Bethpage by the time we get there later this year? First, you can start with the idea of the U.S. players being paid to play in the Ryder Cup. I can only imagine what Luke is going to do with that golden piece of opportunity. And now you consider Keegan Bradley as a possible playing captain and all that means and all the complications that it would bring to the table. And you're right. You add a Patrick Reed or even a Bryson DeChambeau to that mix, and suddenly you start looking over your shoulder and wondering to yourself, who should actually be favored in these matches? Because certainly Luke Donald, as a known commodity, we know he's a really good captain based on what he did in Rome. And we don't know about Keegan Bradley. He could turn out to be a brilliant captain. But I kind of lean in the category, and I was listening to the conversation earlier that Todd Lewis just made. Is Keegan Bradley better off being a player for that team? Is he more important to the U.S. side as a player than a captain? I think it's a conversation we're going to be having for the next few weeks.
Rex, obviously the Open Championship is going to go a long way in determining who are on those respective teams. Final qualifying for the Open is tomorrow on Tuesday. Who are some of the names that you're keeping your eye on?
You two are going to hate me for this. I'm going to get angry text after this, and I hope none of our bosses are listening. But I'm almost leaning towards a Golf's Longest Day 2.0. Just the idea that we could be at Royal Singport for that qualifier tomorrow. Because you look at the field, there's so many compelling storylines. I would volunteer to do that. You start with Ian Poulter and his son, Luke Poulter, are both playing. Ian's trying to get back to the Open Championship for the first time since 2022 and playing alongside your son. That's pretty cool. Luke almost qualified for the U.S. Open at Oakmont. I think that would be a fun story. Probably the one I'm looking at is Graham McDowell. At 45 years old, I don't know how many more opportunities he's going to get to play in an Open Championship in Northern Ireland. That would mean the world to him. He had an opportunity to play in the Open in 2019, made the cut there. You know how much it means to him. I just think it would be cool to be there and cover it. You guys don't yell at me right now, please.
I think that actually would be potentially the best story that could come out of tomorrow, unless, of course, we have Poulter father and son in a 2-for-1 playoff, which I think would be great entertainment. Speaking of playoffs, Rex, Lexi Thompson lost one yesterday, and there's been some confusion over the nomenclature of whether she retired or simply walked away from a full-time schedule. But she does seem to be playing better since the announcement last year that she wasn't going to be part of that daily grind. Do you think she just needed the mental freedom of saying, you know what, I'm not on the hamster wheel anymore, even if she is playing pretty much as she used to?
I feel like all of us on some level would embrace semi-retirement at this point. And no, I feel like that's what we all kind of want. So having the opportunity to kind of pick and choose what you want to do. I would go back and point to Tiger Woods over the last 5, 6, 7 years before injuries really set in, when he had such a limited schedule. And then when he would show up, there was such a fire that we hadn't seen for a few years. There was such a passion that he was playing for because he knew these were going to be limited opportunities. I think it can be a serious grind when you're a professional golfer, certainly when you did it as long as Lexi did. And stepping away, getting a new perspective, getting some rest, learning to miss it a little bit, I think that could all factor into this, yeah.
But if you show the graphic, the notables in the field for the John Deere Classic, the strongest field that this tournament has had in years. With the move now from 125, the top 100 keeping their cards for 2026, could you make an argument that sort of these late season full field events are actually better off after this move?
I think you can, because now it means so much. I was thinking about this morning, that we're only a few weeks away from having the conversation that the guy who finishes 101st on the money list at the end of the regular season isn't going to keep his card. Whereas for the past few decades, you've probably felt like you've had a pretty good season. And it's just a number, but it puts it into context about how the goalpost has changed for these players. I think every event, starting with last week, is going to see a bit of an improvement when you start talking about players in the field that normally would bypass it. Max Homa being a primary example. I'm guessing he probably wouldn't be playing this week if it was still at 125, or at least he would have considered it. And I think players more and more over the next, I think there's 4 more full field events left on the calendar before we get to the playoffs. They're all going to flock to these events hoping to improve, whether if you're inside or out, because you can always improve your status either way.